Hello, SquirrelTribe 2.0. It is Tuesday, my dudes. I have a golden doodle sitting at my feet right now. So I want to talk to you guys about something totally random, but that's what we do over here. The kid, my daughter, she's 14, she's in 8th grade, and we were talking this morning about grades in school. Because when we go to Georgia over Thanksgiving break, she would like to get her hair done. And I told her that in order for that to be a thing, she had to do certain things before I would say yes. Room has to stay clean, bathroom has to stay clean. She has to help out more with the dog. She has to help out more with the washing of the dishes and things like that. And her grades have to be in a certain range of letters or numbers, whichever way y'all want to look at it, A, B, C, D, or, 80s, 90s, 100s, whatever. So we're talking about grades. And she was like, I'm doing really good. And I said, I know you are. I said, your math grade isn't the best, but everything else you're doing great with. And she says to me, when do I need any of this? And the mom in me wanted to be like, ma'am, this is school. This is very important. You're going to need all this. And then I stopped for a second and I was like, what the hell is she actually going to need from anything she is doing from kindergarten through now, or even through 12th grade? I'm literally racking my brain trying to remember what I learned while I was in public school that I need on a daily basis, like today and stuff. And there's literally, sorry, my dog's knocking everything over. There's literally like almost nothing. The stuff I learned in math, I do not use. Now, if I had gone into some certain type of job, if you will, then certain math things would make sense. The things I learned in social studies, none of it really comes into play for a daily basis thing. The things I learned in science, I'm sure some of it does, and maybe you don't realize how often certain things do come into play. But I'm like, when did they do away with home ec? I didn't have home ec when I was in school. I didn't learn how to sew anything. I didn't learn how to first aid anything. I didn't learn how to do the Heimlich maneuver, any of those kind of things. I didn't learn how to bake or cook or can or do anything like that, right? And then I'm like, okay, well, what about, they used to have welding and mechanics and all these different types of things for like the guys. I don't even know if the girls were allowed to do this like back in the day. And woodworking, like wood shop, I think it was called. Who does that now? From the schools in Georgia to the schools in Florida that either I have been a part of, my husband has been a part of, or a kid has been a part of, there hasn't been anything like that. I mean, there's been like little science projects, social studies or science or language arts or math, where you have to like build something or do something to show something, but nothing intricate like building a birdhouse, which I know isn't intricate, but that's something that you used to do like back in the day. And it feels like none of that happens. I was never taught in school how to balance a checkbook, today I guess it'd be credit cards, how to make sure your credit cards or your online banking is, up to par or whatever else. I don't know if anybody still writes checks and uses a checkbook. Everybody just logs on to whatever app they have with whatever bank they have to check their balance on a daily basis, because it's right there at your fingertips. I guess technically you don't need to write it down. Like my Nana used to write everything down. Anytime we go somewhere, she'd pull out her piece of paper with her deductions and her additions on it, and she carried it around with her, and that was her thing. Today, people pull out their phones and they log into Bank of America or SunTrust. I don't even know if that's still a thing. Truist, maybe. Sorry, the dog is laying on the stand for the phone. What is it? No, Wells Fargo. Yeah. Wachovia was mine when I was younger. That's not a thing anymore. Max, you're like rocking everything, broski. But you can have all of that at your fingertips, right? Like literal up to date, whatever and whatnot. So maybe they don't need to do that, but I did not know how to pay bills. I didn't understand mortgage. I didn't know, about cars and gas. And there's so many things that you don't realize that you need to know when you're 18 and graduate and are kind of out on your own or going to college or whatever else. There's so many things you don't know. And so many things that you've learned that after you're out of school, nobody ever asks you about them again. And, I wish that they did more of the teach you the everyday kind of things. And I know that's on the parents too. Teach your kids how to wash clothes, teach your kids how to vacuum and stuff, like, because that stuff's not hard. Take care of dogs, whatever else. That's not really the school's job. But also at the same time, the schools you would think would want to teach kids how to manage money, how to manage emotions. time management, if you will, and stuff in math that makes sense to me. Because again, half of the stuff my kid is doing right now in 8th grade, I'm like, ma'am, Max, would you quit like laying on the phone? I'm like, ma'am, I don't know when you'll ever use this in life. It's possible, when my husband and I were in construction and whatnot, he had to do a lot of math stuff, but even then he wasn't using very many equations that were taught to us in school. It's not that you don't learn anything helpful and useful in school. I think you learn how to get along with people and deal with people in a crowd, and you learn how to follow directions in theory, and you learn how to have patience, and you learn how to, I don't like the phrase, what I'm about to say here, but you learn how to like be part of a group that follows orders. I don't love that part. I don't think I like that part, but there are things you learn, obviously. All of school is not pointless, but I wish that they taught the things like they used to teach like back in the day. And I don't know why they stopped teaching those things. And now I really wish they would bring those things back. There are some schools out there, like there are some states and cities where they have schools that will teach you those things, but they're not considered a regular public school. Those are like I want to use the word vocational, but I'm pretty sure that's incorrect. Technical schools, but even that's not really correct because it's not really technical. I don't know what they're called, and I feel like I should know this, but I'm having a little bit of a brain fog day, so I don't know about that. But anyway, the things that my kid is learning here, though, in Florida, they do have in 7th grade, you have to learn about the Constitution. I think that part's great. I think it's great that she's learning that, because I think everybody should know what the Constitution is, what their rights are, and things like that. Social studies, it's really neat. She'll come home and tell me what she's learned. And in the back of my brain, I'm like, man, I'm glad she's into this, because maybe the whole point in the stuff you learn in school today is so it can help you decide what you want to be when you grow up. Because if she loves social studies and she loves learning about all the stuff that happened way back in the day, because they don't really teach us about stuff that happened, I don't know, within the last 5 years, that is pretty important. It's always from the 1500s, 1400s, 1800s, nothing in this century, it feels like. But maybe she'll do that and realize that she really is into that kind of stuff. So she wants to be a historian. She wants to go maybe be part of a museum somewhere. Maybe she wants to teach social studies in the future. Maybe she likes science a lot, and she likes how, photosynthesis and all this other stuff. She likes learning how the moon's gravitational pull affects the earth and all this other stuff. And so she wants to go into something there. I can understand that there's reasons behind the things they learn in school. But I will say, I feel like the majority of kids in public school don't use a lot of what they learn. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm way off base here, because I didn't go to college after school, and I hated school. Man, I hated school. I hated school so much. I hated writing papers and everything else. Even though I loved language arts, it was my favorite because I got to read a lot, and I'm kind of a book nerd. So I loved language arts. It was my absolute favorite. Math, not so much. 2 + 2 = 4. I got that. 2 × 2 = 4. I got that. That's about as far as we're going. Math and I, we're not like this. We're more like over here. It's not a pretty thing. Science was always interesting, right? But again, at the end of the day, now I do know that science comes in handy for people who want to grow their own foods and make their own things and stuff like that, which also would be a really good class if they would teach that in school again. And again, that goes into home ec, like the gardening and the stuff like that, because I think it's really important for people to know how to kind of do things for themselves. But I don't know. The kid was like, what's high school going to be like? And I was like, man, what I remember from high school is all the cliques and trying to figure out who you are, like as a human, like who you are personality wise, what you really like and whatever else, without being swayed by all the kids around you and whatever's popular or whatever else. And obviously high school is when you're really into like the opposite sex or the same sex, you do you, but whatever you want. But that's when you really find yourself with the hormones and all this other stuff. And it's like, high school is a circus. High school is a circus that you're graded on technically, because you have to pass your grades and stuff in order to get out of high school, or else you're in that circus for way too freaking long. And then she's like, well, what's college like? And I'm like, a party. I don't know. For some, it's a huge party. For others, it's just, lots and lots of learning. I guess it all depends on the person and where you are in the situation. But like, how many of you, just out of curiosity, how many of you in high school or elementary school, middle school, high school, the stuff you learned was so important to your current life, like job or whatever you do? I'm just really curious, because maybe I'm way off the mark here. But generally speaking, when I talk to people and I'll ask questions, because I'm inquisitive, and I'll just ask the most random questions of people. And I've asked before, hey, what was your favorite grade in school? What was your favorite class in school? Did you learn anything in school? What do you remember most from school? Like random things like pi, 3.14. Cool. I mean, I don't know how impressive that is. I'm pretty sure everybody remembers pi. There's so many little random things that are drilled into your head that you're going to remember. But again, how often do you use them? Never in the history of my life outside of a test in class have I needed to know that pi was 3.14. I don't even remember what the hell pi is for. What's it for? I don't even remember. And I'm going to blame it on being 41 and being out of school for over half my life at this point and not thinking about all that stuff because I haven't used it. But it's like, is it really that important? Or would it be better if there was no public school and it was just up to people to take care of their kids and raise them and teach them the things they thought they needed to know? You know, like back before school was an invention. Basically the way it was done a long, long time ago. Like, I don't know. I'm just talking to talk, y'all. It was something I was thinking about earlier because of the kid and her wanting to get her hair done and me going, no, you have to have good grades. And then her basically going, but why? And me going, because I said so, because that's a mom thing. And also, well, because you have to. Well, why? Because it's the only way to get to the next grade. And that's a really shitty reason to get good grades because it's the only way to get to the next grade. I don't, like, what's the point? Some of y'all are going to be like, oh God, I can't believe this is how she thinks. Listen, don't be surprised. I don't get it sometimes. I don't understand because they don't really learn the stuff that I think is highly important for her to learn. We do a lot of that here on our own, but it's just a random thing. That's all. SquirrelTribe 2.0. I love y'all immensely. I hope you have a fabulous rest of your Tuesday, my dudes, and I'll see you on Hump Day. Bye.